violence, and we
Oh,
have
have
done.
you? Okay. Okay, so you already have 3 chapters.
No, I have only one chapter that Mama has done.
Okay, yeah. But after that, we have read a lot more.
Lot more. Yeah.
Yes, yes. We should
There's
catch
not
up.
much in violence, right? So we can skip violence.
No, we should have it because I think, yeah, but then it's all case study and illustration based. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah. Anyway, Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Let's get started. Um, why don't you read, Ravi, the 7 realities? Over to you.
Okay, sure.
Oh, just a second. I'm not sharing. Sorry.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following 7 realities. Number one, the only real existence is that of the one and the only God, who is the self in every finite self. 2. The only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with His truth, God. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, and even life itself are sacrificed. Number 4. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand without expectation of reward when compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from the indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. अवतार मेहर
Avatar
बाबा
Meher
की
Baba ki jai.
जय जय बाबा.
Thanks, Ravi. So we are at chapter on love, and we are midway through it. So we'll just brush through uh, and go through the what we already completed. So the chapter on love on the physical book is on page 110. So love pervades the universe. So we understood last time that though each form is separate from other forms, in reality they are all forms of the same unity of life. An expression of love is nothing but uh, each of them trying to engage and move towards that same unity, right? And in different forms and different levels of consciousness, that engagement and expression is different. and those are the aspects that are described. It culminates in divine love. Love in the inanimate nature is the forces of cohesion and affinity which prevail in the very constitution of matter are positive expressions of love. A striking example of love at this level is found in attraction of magnet exercises for iron, right? Then animal world, what is love in the animal world? All expressions of love at this stage have one thing in common, namely they all seek to satisfy some bodily impulse or desire through the object of love. Somebody's mic, I think Ravi, your mic should be on mute. Three combinations of love and reason. And I think we spent quite some time, and if you recollect, this is when I think Vidyaji also joined. It culminates in super consciousness, and we had the visualization example that our accountant gave us, the Venn diagram, right, and which is interesting. And then we went to qualitative variety in love, lower forms of love, infatuation, and then lust and greed. Lower forms of the love are the enemy of the higher. Love and infatuation, the distinction between that. Love and lust. Love and greed. And finally, we were at the chapter, at the subtitle, Pure Love Awakened Through Grace. I will reread that paragraph for a logical start. Yeah. Any thoughts before we get started from your discussions and rereading of this? I had requested everybody to reread this. Mama.
I had posted the diagram in Telegram, which is
Now?
Last 2-3 days itself. This is from the Glow latest edition.
Oh, yes. I remember. I wanted to improve the quality of that, and I missed. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So there is Baba's conversation listed there on page 25, 26, 27.
I'll bring that up. I'll bring that up in a minute.
So it gives a graphic picture of love. Yeah. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it opened up, and it's acting up because I'm on. Oh yeah, it's opened up here. I'm using a monitor, so it's opening on the other monitor, and I'm not sharing that screen.
Okay.
Yeah, now it did. Yeah. So do you want to explain this?
No. I have also not read it completely. Only thing is, as per this diagram, it clearly mentions there are 4
levels,
varieties of love. Natural love, that is magnetic, the lowest one. The animal love, that is the carnal love, or the lust part of it.
Yeah, body.
Then when it comes to the human level, there are 4 subclasses: carnal, that is lust, greed, selfish, and selfless. So it is classified like that. And then moving higher up, it is primal and final. I have not read completely. So I think we may read this also later so that we can understand, or each one who has this can read it. And
so somebody who has the Glow and can get a good pick of the 5 pages. I'll tell you what this is about. This is basically the Premashram boys, right? It's the discourse to the Premashram boys. That's what I
March 27, 1929.
Correct. Your audio is very bad today, Mamaji. I don't know what the reason is. Yeah. I think maybe there are 2 mics, or you're very far away from the mic. One of the 2.
No, only one.
Okay. but usually you come through very well. So it's a
I
bit
can
like,
remove that. I have a device. I think I can directly talk through the computer. I think there was a lot
yeah.
of disturbance from outside.
Mhm.
So we had Ramzan prayer, all those things. So that's why I put on the. Now I am audible with this.
Yes, yes, much better, much better.
Okay, okay. I will bring it nearer. Okay.
Yeah, I found the section. So it's basically from the diary of Khaikushru Jamshid Dastur. And there's quite a few entries, but we can surely read the section on love. It's basically a discourse on what is love. And shall we read it after we finish reading the
Yes,
chapter?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
let's do that. Let's do that. So for now, let me jump back to thanks for sharing that. And let's now jump back to the reading. Okay. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. I'll start from here. Infatuation, lust, and greed constitute a spiritual malady, which is often rendered more virulent by the aggravating symptoms of anger and jealousy. Pure love, in sharp contradistinction, is the bloom of spiritual perfection. Mics on mute, please. Human love is so tethered by these limiting conditions that the spontaneous appearance of pure love from within becomes impossible. So, when such pure love arises in the aspirant, it is always a gift. Pure love arises in the heart of the aspirant in response to the descent of grace from a perfect master. When pure love is first received as a gift of the master, it becomes lodged in the consciousness of the aspirant like a seed in favorable soil. And in the course of time, the seed develops into a plant and then into a full grown tree. Spiritual preparation for grace. The descent of the grace of the master is conditioned, however, by the preliminary spiritual preparation of the aspirant. This preliminary preparation for grace is never complete until the aspirant has built into his spiritual makeup some divine attributes. For example, when a person avoids backbiting and thinks more of the good points in others than of their bad points, and when he can practice supreme tolerance and desires good for others, even at a cost to himself, he is ready to receive the grace of the Master. One of the greatest obstacles hindering this spiritual preparation of the aspirant is worry. When, with supreme effort, this obstacle of worry is overcome, a way is paved for the cultivation of the divine attributes that constitute the spiritual preparation of the disciple. As soon as the disciple is ready, the grace of the Master descends. For the Master, who is the ocean of divine love, is always on the lookout for the soul in whom his grace will fructify.
I think, shall we have some discussion on this here?
Sure.
It's a beautiful example Baba gave in how one can get grace. He gave just example, but one has to be selfless, especially when we look at others. We always compare. They performed something. We always look at them with respect to our own. If we are expert on that, we think, oh, he's not good. And we don't know anything. Oh, so what? Who cares? In that respect, we tend to look at that way. But we should truly appreciate without bringing in the comparison of me, I. Then the grace dawns. When we are driving, people who are going fast, we think, oh, this guy must be crazy, going too fast. And if somebody is going very slower than us, we think, hey, he's too crazy, he's too slow, That's how human mind works. That's my couple of thoughts. Let's see what others think. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, Khalid bhai.
I was just observing, uh, the outpour of love, selflessness, everything is there. But Baba has time and again emphasized on backbiting and slander. You know, even in the repentance prayer, he has it has been emphasized. So, in my opinion, it's a very vital and important aspect for the aspirants. On his path of growth. Restraint is also a very good thing to practice. So I think a takeaway is that backbiting and slander uh, is of prime thing to be practiced. While on the path for an
Yeah,
aspirant. Jai Baba.
Jay Babu, very good point, Khalid.
No master has emphasized and clarified as much as Baba has done on backbiting, right? And I
Mhm.
think there is a whole section on that. There's we should and people have also talked about it in separate sessions. Multiple Baba lovers have made talks on that. So I'm sure that we should listen to that and give importance to what Khalid just said. Yes, absolutely.
Valid points, Karthik. But I was just wondering, can we also relate this to when it comes to backbiting, that inaction is better than the unintelligent action of backbiting? If he's not doing anything, means not no backbiting, nothing. So we restrain ourselves. Can we correlate it with inaction, or is it correct to correlate?
Inaction. Yes. But then it should be the right level of inaction, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. In the case of backbiting, yes, it does. It does mean that
Yep.
you're intelligently not acting. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good thought.
Yeah,
Maybe first step
restraint
is
has to be restraint to maybe
Restraint. Yeah.
in thoughts, words, and deeds. So
Correct.
even in thoughts, the restraint needs to be adapted.
yeah.
Perfect. Good
Yeah.
point, Ashok.
First step
No.
is to do the inaction and not to criticize others, not to backbite. But one of the problems many of us suffer is the ego, right? I am that's constantly bothering us. And one of the medicines for that is to appreciate others as much as possible. That is one of the best medicine for controlling our ego or being aware of our ego to be in control.
Uh, just one more observation, which of course Kama has been stressing, that we all should try to link each and every paragraph with the 7 realities, which is a very valid, connect. So maybe offline or maybe during discussions, if we can also correlate the paragraphs with 7 realities, that will be a very good way to correlate the 7 realities with the discourses. Any thoughts?
One or two points what I came to my mind here is one is backbiting. When people are doing backbiting, it is more of their ego because the subject is not in front of you. You are just commenting on somebody, not in front of that subject, but doing it away from them. So the probable imagination in the person doing it is that it is glorifying our own ideas, not trying to say inject that to the other person directly. That is where we have to think twice. So this is a activity which we may do just to say glorify our own ego. So that has to be stopped. And we also may have a false idea that it is not going to hurt him because he is not going to hear this or not hearing this. I make a casual comment like that. So this is going to hurt our own selves. That we'll have to realize on the first instant itself, and then stop doing this. That is one aspect which I wanted to tell here. And second is regarding the grace, the last sentence as we read, grace is pervading, but to fructify that grace, we have to be prepared. So the ground has to be prepared. So we need to have certain capabilities to receive that grace. That is what is very clearly emphasized here. So the God's or Baba's grace is always there on all of us, but how much we receive it is left to us. Our own preparation.
Our preparedness, yeah, our preparedness decides that. Yes,
yes.
Perfect.
Jai Baba.
Correct. Jai Baba.
Yeah, basically we have to love more. Yeah, basically we have to love more and reduce ourself as much as possible. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Yes, madam. Yes, how are you? Long time no see.
Yeah, I've been
Miss
busy
you.
backbiting.
I know. That's a good one. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining Daddy's prayers. We're very grateful. Now coming back to the
Our
topic.
honor. Yeah.
I find backbiting is one of the issues in my life, you know. I start with making fun of people behind their backs, and then I kind of backbite. And then I know it doesn't do anything to them, but I feel very heavy with the load of whatever rubbish I've said. Is there a way to kind of not do it?
There's only a way of not doing it. That's it. So
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
I mean, how do you
What do you
not
mean,
cut it
backbite?
out? Yeah.
What do
You
you
have to
mean?
cut it out. You have to cut it out. So I
Yep.
think I learned this. I learned this lesson, and I've been itching to say it from the time this topic started. It's my mother that taught me as a kid, right?
Yeah.
The moment you talk about somebody else, she used to literally give me a glare and say, you have no business talking about anybody else. And she would also put that in practice, right? She rarely, if somebody gossips, you know how ladies can get to gossip zone very quickly.
Hello.
No, but I have seen her in stopping, abruptly and say, hey, no, let's not talk about that. So I think I got that lesson from my mother. Thank you very much. And I'm very sensitive of getting to that zone. Of course, even in spite of that, there have been umpteen instances at work and in social life where I am guilty of backbiting, and I watch myself do it, and I stop it. But then obviously it's not easy, Romita. I don't disagree that there's no others can also tell us if they have any other tools and techniques that they use, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Karthik, if I may just add, you're right.
Yeah.
I think you have to cut it at the level of thought. The moment any thought comes, that particular moment, let it go as a passing cloud and not react. That is, I mean, that is something I think that we should not react to it and let it go. Even if the thought comes, emanates, and let it go, so that the thought is not converted into words.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've
Thoughts would
decided.
keep coming.
Yeah.
Jai Baba, I've
Yes.
decided to take 40 days sankalpa of not biting. Please watch me.
Yeah. So
How do we watch you?
whatever
So we can't. So you have to tell us if you broke it, okay?
Okay.
Jai
basically
Baba, can I
whatever
interject?
whatever thought comes to us to backbite, we have to consider that is Baba's mercy. What is disturbing us leads to the backbiting, right?
Yeah.
So we have to think that it was the way Baba wanted. Somebody acted the way he acted.
Oh.
So maybe that can help.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is helping now.
See,
Yeah, Jai
one
Baba,
thing-
somebody
one
wanted
thing,
to say something.
Nomitaji, you have at least Sunil to watch over you in the next 40 days.
But if he is listening to my backbiting, then how?
See, one thing.
Jai Baba,
Thing,
sorry, yeah. Raviji, go ahead, yeah.
no,
Sorry.
go ahead, Sunilji.
No, I just wanted to say that what helps is understanding of the issue. And I think Mamaji's explanation was beautiful. Mamaji, could you repeat it once again?
Regarding backbiting, what I stressed was this is because we are doing it away from the subject in question. We tend to glorify ourselves in commenting. So that is the root cause of probably the backbiting is our own ego. So if we can control that, every time when a thought comes, you'll have to think over twice and then whether to utter a word or not at that moment. We have to mull it and then say stop it there itself. So that's what Karthik gave. What example of my sister telling him or stopping him trying to do that. So this, I think constantly we have to be aware of this. So because this is generating as a thought process, we can try to stop it at that level. So not to go ahead and then, because in a conversation in a group, when somebody is not there, we casually make a comment on X and Y who are not there in the group. So we have to have a control. But the first thing is this awareness. As soon as you get this awareness that I may make a comment on somebody who is not in front of me, then that process will take you to the next level of trying to control that thought. So it is more to do with our ego. So we have to be conscious of that. That's what I told
I
about.
like that. Beautiful. Mamaji, thank you so much. And I completely agree with that. I think we are just trying to amplify our own ego when we do backbiting, because ego, like in the chapter on ego, it's Baba said it's hydra-headed. It appears in so many different ways, so many different places, and it's like a ballast. If we don't use that ballast correctly, our own progression slows down. So if we know that by backbiting we are hurting ourselves, not the person, not the subject, then I think we will, as I said, understanding of the issue can be a way to control it. If we know it, that we are hurting ourselves, we are amplifying our own ego by backbiting, then maybe that helps in controlling it a bit. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, may I share my thoughts?
Sure.
So as Karthik said that his mother always stopped him, whenever it came to backbiting. More often than not, the contrary is the case, that a child grows up in an atmosphere where he is used to hearing others backbiting. So it kind of becomes a habit till he grows up and realizes that it is not right. And as Mamaji says about ego, perhaps it is also a complex. People with inferiority complex, I think, tend to backbite or criticize more in order to glorify their own ego. And
I think not just the inferiority complex, people with superiority complex also can
Also.
also do. And there can
Sorry,
be
Jai Baba.
sometimes real malefic intention behind the backbiting, to damage or spoil somebody's image or something like that. It's not always out of habit. One is out of habit because you have grown up like that. Second is there can be a real motive behind it. Jai Baba.
So speaking about somebody in his absence, that is backbiting, or speaking ill about somebody in their absence is backbiting.
Yeah.
What is it in the opinion of others?
Ill, I suppose. We can always praise people on their back, right?
But isn't that speaking about somebody in his absence?
I think it is inspirational many times. So I think only criticism, talking negatively of somebody behind their back is backbiting. But if I'm appreciative of somebody, which I often do, many of us do, so that's not backbiting, I suppose.
So,
So
a
whether
way
you
or
Not out
pattern.
of
absence or
infatuation, but out
presence,
of
it should
the
be said.
balanced mind thinking,
So
we get
as a
often
pattern,
infatuated by somebody and praise. Yeah.
So as a pattern to avoid this backbiting, if we are able to tame our mind, like whenever the thought of something comes about backbiting, instead of talking ill about it, if we tame the mind to speak the better qualities of that person, maybe to some extent, as aspirants will be able to get over this hang up of backbiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a good thing, but it's very difficult because the whole ego play comes in only when you're able to show something down, right? See, it's basically a ego boost. Like I like that summary from Mamaji, right? So it's basically you're pandering your ego when you backbite, and that will never happen if you're appreciating somebody. So your temptation to backbite will be non-existent if you see a positive thing or a great personality, right? So that, but I know we should try to convert
Yeah,
the
that
situation.
is the medicinal aspect of it, how to reverse it.
Reverse it and use it
That
in
bitter pill we need to swallow.
yeah.
I would like to bring in a small interesting story here. If you put a little effort on, I mean, we all do backbiting because our mind prompts it and we enjoy. And as Mama and all the others mentioned, it's the ego that enjoys. But Baba has already worked on it, worked on this problem a long time ago in 30s, 20s probably. Because of Baba's work, we're able to get over this backbiting much easier. The story goes like this. And Baba, in 20s or something like that, he asked the Mandali people, whoever backbites, tell me. And then one time somebody came and said Pendu was backbiting. And Baba said, call Pendu. So Pendu came, and instead of yelling at him, what Baba did was he made him stand there, and Baba bowed down to his legs, put his head on Pendu's feet. And by that process, he already worked on the backbiting process for the whole humanity. So if we work a little bit, bringing in the spirituality, that helps us to get over that. I think we should make use of Baba's energy here and get rid of it. And there's a little funny story attached to this is, what was his name? Bhava Culture's previous life. What was his? Do you guys remember that? I forgot the name. Previous life of Bhava Culture. He was a Parsi. Huh?
Okay. No, I've never heard of that. It's interesting.
Yeah, Parsi. I forgot his name. He was Baba's lover. He was in the Mandali, and it so happened that gentleman was standing next to Pendu when Baba was touching his head. And by accident, not by accident, I think Baba did it on purpose, touched this guy's feet too. And that became a big impact on him. Oh my God, Baba God, and he touched my feet, and he was so upset. That's it. He said, I'm going to leave. I'm not going to stay here. Baba touched my feet. It's such a blasphemy, blah, 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 all these things. And he took his bag and started walking. Baba was asking, don't go, don't worry, it's not a big deal, all that stuff. And he started walking towards, from Mehrabad towards the Ahmednagar. And Baba started walking behind. And he looked back and he started walking fast. And Baba walking fast. And after some time, that guy started running. And Baba started running after him. And then after some distance, he stopped and started laughing. And Baba came and hugged him and brought him back. That was the little story associated with that. Jeba.
So what was the point,
Interesting.
Ravi?
Kama?
What was the point?
Yeah.
Jai Baba, I want to make a comment here. First of all, I would like to ask the audience, what do they mean by ego? Is it different from infatuation, lust, greed, anger, jealousy, or what is it? So can you guys put some flavor on this?
I think ego is the driving force for all that, whatever you have mentioned, the list of them. So it is the sort of a starting point or a driving force which makes us go into all the spheres of, say, lust downwards, every other negative aspect. Yeah,
So
Baba.
would you say that? So would you say that all the English alphabets that I mentioned, anger, backbiting, craving, duality, expectations, fear, greed, hatred, hypocrisy, jealousy, and so on, would it come under the category of ego?
That it doesn't come under that category, but is the driving force which makes us to land in that area of emotion or say activity is that ego part.
Sustains. The ego sustains all of this, right? So, or sustains is the wrong word. I'm trying to get
Baba,
what. Yeah, sure.
I think it's what fuels the ego. The mind is,
Yeah,
as Baba said, is
yeah.
is
Thank you.
human directions, the thoughts, words, and deeds. So these all attributes of duality, which Kama and Mamaji mentioned, are the ones which are the fuel for the ego. So the ego dwells or it likes that because it fuels the ego. Would that be a better way? I mean, one of the ways of
Good,
interpreting.
absolutely. I agree with that. But I don't know where Kama is going. There must be some good place.
What is,
So,
what is Kama's
Ego
question?
mind
Kama,
is the
what is the
same thing.
question? Kama, what is the question?
The question was, is the mind ego or the ego mind, which is mentioned in the discourses,
Mind and
are
the
they the
ego are
same thing?
separate. Ego, Ahankara is separate. Mind is separate. Mental body is separate
What
from
is then?
Ahankara,
What is the
self.
definition? Isn't the mind a repository of sanskaras?
Yeah, mind, mental body is there. That is the depository of
Okay.
the sanskaras.
And
The
isn't
Ahankara, the
ego
self is there. The self.
Yes, but isn't the ego a cumulative?
Kama, you broke up. Just for
Isn't the
me,
ego?
or
No, I didn't hear it.
Fantastic.
The sound dropped. The voice audio
My
dropped.
question
Kama.
is that if the mind is, I don't have any power, so I'm on the Geo network here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead again, please.
Okay. My question is that if the mind is the repository of all the sanskaras, mind, the mental body, because we know that in the God Speaks fifth and sixth plane, basically it's about the mental body and it has two domains. The fifth plane is about thinking mind and the sixth plane is the feeling mind. So the question out here is, if the mind is the repository of sanskaras, if the mental body is the repository of sanskaras, where does the ego arise? Isn't that a net cumulative effect of all the sanskaras?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Is a net
So
cumulative
would it be,
effect of ego. Yeah.
so would it be logical enough to say that the mind ego is basically all the different things that we are talking about: infatuation, lust, greed, anger, jealousy, fear, worry, all these that we carry in different degrees in our consciousness, because each individual being is a unique, has a unique DNA and fingerprint. So naturally, all these different aspects we are talking about are carried in different degrees by different individuals based on their sanskaras. So wouldn't we say that the ego is the opposite of love?
Not really. Not really. You have ego until you get God realization, until you leave, until the perfect master kicks out all the sanskaras.
Right.
So,
but when you're talking about love, there are different kinds of love. You have animal love, you have ordinary human love, you have pure love, you have divine love. So ego is about duality. Even in love, ordinary human love, there is duality, right?
yes, it is in the we are in the duality. We are in the world of duality. And it is only through the mind or ego we love. Love is a feeling. The mind has got three parts, right? Intellect, emotions, and the thoughts. The emotional part
So
is the love.
So would you say the less the ego, more the love, or more the ego, less the love?
Less the ego,
Yes.
more the love.
Yes.
Okay. So
Man, we're
if
talking
ego is
about,
seeking,
are we talking about the divine love or the selfish love?
no, any love, because yes, we have to be very clear. We are talking about the love between during the gross plane, ordinary human love, and the love that is happening between the first plane and the sixth plane. We may categorize it as pure love, and the
Yes.
seventh plane we call it divine love, right?
We are in human beings. Let's forget about all those things. We love.
Okay, so suppose you're in the sixth plane. If Ravi is in the sixth plane, so is he still in duality?
Yes, I am in the duality, in the sixth plane.
Okay. So that love is not divine love. It's still, there is pure love there, because there is only one duality, is the
Yes.
differentiation between the object and the subject of the object of love and the subject.
Correct. Correct.
So that means ego and love are inversely proportional. When ego becomes zero, which means sanskaras become zero, means ego becomes zero, which means you attain nirvana or nirvikalpa samadhi.
Yes. 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 You can say that.
So would one say that ego and love are inversely proportional?
Not necessarily. You have to use yourself to love, right? Until we get God realization. How do you love? Your intention of loving somebody, it's done with your ego.
No, but
Ego.
I agree with
One
it that
second.
it could
One
be.
second.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
1 second. Let me say this. Okay. We love ego. We love with ourself. What is self? That's what we are talking about. The ego. Okay.
You're talking
we
about
love-
the ego personality self or the real I self?
See, ego can be I am Ravi, I am a male person. Okay, that is my ego. But
That
in
is the ego,
comparison
yes.
with
Ego
you, say
personality
with you
self.
guys, if I say, hey, I am greater than you all, okay, that is false ego. That is a degree higher than what is required. If I use my ego properly, I use my ego to love Baba. I am loving Baba. Love me. Baba said, you love me. Who is you? You are that ego. You are that person who has got that separation from the God. So we have the separation from the God until we get the God realization. And what is that we are feeling the separation from? That through the ego we are feeling the separation.
So can you please define what do you mean by loving Baba? How do you do that in practice?
I love Baba. I am individual soul. I am this body. I am this mind. I am loving Baba. Baba is
So
the
everybody can say that I'm loving Baba, right? But what is the action aspect? What does it mean? What is the action behind the practical aspect of
action
loving
with
Baba? What does it?
feeling oneness with the Baba. Feeling oneness. How does a mother feel about the baby? Mother feel oneness with the baby. That is the real love. And apart from her own feeling
No,
of
that is only ordinary human love. That is not real love. That is just ordinary human love. That is clearly said this in this chapter in love. That the love that the mother shows for the child, or the man who fights for the country, has no comparison to the pure love, which is the gift of the perfect master.
Yes, agree.
So my point is, when you're talking about loving Baba, Baba is our innermost loving self. Let's try to go beyond the form. It's not like loving your spouse or partner. I think what Baba is saying is, can we go within ourselves? Because Baba is a personification of that self. Good. But I think we have to go ahead and follow those precepts in how to love God, or the seven realities. It is how we relate with people. That is what is about loving Baba.
That's okay, Kama. That's your perspective. Everyone
No,
we
not
have
perspective.
own way
I want to
Baba.
clarify my
Okay?
thing, because
Go
of the
ahead.
discussion
Please
we are
do
doing.
that.
We're
Please do
trying to
that.
understand this love and ego inversely proportional. That's what my main question was.
Yes, it is inversely proportional. But we try to bring in ourselves. We give importance. Right now, my Baba's love is only probably 10%. I is got 90%. I want to reduce my 90% and give prominence to that Baba.
Right. That's understandable.
Okay.
Okay, now coming back backbiting, I think there are two types of backbiting. There is constructive backbiting and there's a destructive backbiting. Suppose you have like a new person joins a company and we know the boss is a sexual predator. Now the guy says like, I've seen, instances, because backbiting is also very contextual. We have to understand what does it mean by backbiting. Suppose we know a certain person has certain bad qualities, and there's a new person who's coming in the community or the group or the organization. We want to warn that person, hey, you know what, be careful of that guy. Now, could you tell me, is it backbiting or is it making sure that proactively you are helping somebody? I mean, this is for the audience.
Highly contextual, because your judgment can be wrong.
No,
You may
suppose
have
you know
facts at your
this
command.
person is a sexual predator. Okay,
So your responsibility would be primary to actually out him and go to the cops. Why are you waiting for the new joining?
No. Let's see.
So,
Again,
I mean,
because
it's very
you can't just
contextual. It's very contextual. It's very contextual.
Today, I
Contextual
had the
is-
same example, Kama. Today, I had the same example. I have a colleague that is working with me, and we have a new manager. I happened to work with that manager before for 20 years. He is such a wonderful guy. He is very, very sweet, but he has got the quality at certain moments. He gets mad so bad. He gets mad like anything. He all becomes whole red and he doesn't know what he's talking. And then there's only a spur of a moment and it goes away. Then he becomes so humble, so helpful to you and all those things. So my colleague who came recently, I was telling about this manager. He very objectively, he's a very nice guy. 90% of the time he's very good. But I want you to be aware at certain times he can be mad and he can be mad very badly. So am I backbiting or am I helping my colleague to understand this process, understand that gentleman?
I think you are only
Absolutely
describing your
not.
personality.
You're actually helping that person. You're making sure that a new person who joins the organization is aware of the fact.
Exactly.
So I think it is a good thing. It is not a backbiting.
I love Tom.
It is form of intelligent
Tom is the
action.
manager. Yeah. I love Tom and nothing against him, but I'm aware of his nature. I'm not going to change him, but I did call him and talk to him. Yep, I did. When he was in good mood, he's ready to listen to me. I called him and talked to him. Hey, Tom, if you behave like this, you're going to be in correctional facility. And look at all the people in correctional facilities. Most of them did something when they're in the rage of anger, and you have that rage certain times. I want you to understand, I love you, so be aware of it. I did tell him that.
So in both these instances of both what Kama said and what Ravi said, the intention is very important, isn't it? What
Exactly.
Yes,
intention you're
absolutely.
telling.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. You said it right. The intention behind any kind of thought, word, or deed is motivation is very important. What is the motive behind it? What is the intention behind it?
Yeah,
So I think it is a contextual, and as you rightly said, intention and motivation is an important aspect of any kind of intelligent action or inaction. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Anyway,
there
what
was a
did we get out of
Wikipedia
this whole
page
discussion?
on backbiting.
Sorry,
Jai
Sunil, what
Baba.
was your question?
I said there's a Wikipedia page on backbiting. Quite interesting. I was reading it. It says the causes of backbiting. Backbiting may occur as a form of release after a confrontation. By insulting the opposite person, the backbiter diminishes them and by doing so restores their own self-esteem. So it's usually happening after you have had a confrontation with somebody. Then you start going around and telling, hey, this is a bad guy, this is a so-and-so is not good at something, because you want to restore your own self-esteem. So there's some clarity about what is backbiting over there. I just Googled while we were discussing what is backbiting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jai Baba.
I think we have to feel Baba in everybody, and if we criticize somebody, we have to think, are we criticizing Baba? That's the question we have to pose, and that will help us to reduce our habit of backbiting. Jai Baba.
Talking about
Jai Baba,
ego,
I think, once again, sorry, Jai Baba, I think what Sunil said is very appropriate based on the semantic meaning of backbiting. But I have come across instances in real life where people, where they needed to say something, prevented, stopped from saying something because they say it's backbiting. Because rather than saying that, no, this is the truth, they were more inclined towards thinking of it as backbiting rather than thinking that it's a useful thing that somebody has to know because it will help that person. That's what I meant, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
so
from this discussion on love and ego, just the thought comes to me. I just thought of sharing it. Love, as Baba says, is latent in all of us. So if you go to put it on the graph, it's just a straight 180-degree straight line. So there is no variation from the time of the drop soul's first form to the point where it is, attaining Nirvikam Samadhi, Nirvana, till the ultimate level. The accumulation of sanskaras, which is the variables, that is where the ego comes. That's the ego part. The ego is the accumulated sanskaras in all this evolution that the soul goes through. And the task for the aspirant is to undo these sanskaras through balancing, through wiping, through erasing, So it's the sanskaras which arise the ego. We are looking at our gross life, we try to increase love, decrease love. But love cannot be increased or decreased. Love is just a straight line. What is causing the variation is the sanskaras. That is the ego part. And that is what we need to get rid of. So that was my thought. Jai Baba.
Okay, so we started at love, and I think the reference to backbiting has been a very interesting digression, but I think wholly justified. And I think all of you made some brilliant points. And then we also understood the relationship between ego and love. That was interesting. And on backbiting, I think the two takeaways, one starting with Mamaji and the ego linkage, and the second from Soma, which is intent, right? I think with those two things, if we are able to watch our thoughts and watch the thoughts from being converted to words, I think we'll go a long way in eliminating backbiting. With that, we think we can continue. Kama, anything before we continue?
Karthik, I just have an observation. If you can go back to the paragraph, spiritual preparation for grace, I think that there's a very important takeaway. And that is that, for example, when a person avoids backbiting and thinks more of the good points in others than of their bad points, when he can practice supreme tolerance and desires good for others, even at the cost to himself, he's ready to receive the grace of the master. What I'm trying to say here is that we should avoid backbiting unless it is necessary or the intent is to help, or unless there's some benefit for the person, or we should avoid that, because this is one of the preconditions for being ready for the grace of the master. This is what I thought I'll again highlight, because that is also relevant to our discussion.
See, Namita is the one who started this discussion. Is Namita still here, or is she sleeping?
Yeah, she's still there.
One more thing I wanted to...
Namita, come
Jai
on.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, I realize the intent of your life defines the content of your spiritual journey. So yeah, for me, I'll bear in mind, actually Sunil is correct also. Sometimes you backbite because you feel you're superior than all the riffraffs around. and then you validate your being so great. So once you are mindful of, these kind of things that are coming in your head, then you will shut up when it's not necessary, and you'll watch out, while speaking. For me, I this bothers me because I do talk about people, and now I'll do 40 days sankalpa of being mindful of not belittling people, and I think then I'll get sorted, and then I'll be a perfect master.
Namita,
Okay, that's all.
I think your jokes will go down by 50% because half the time you're mimicking people. So we are going to miss it
Okay,
also.
I have a question. Is mimicking backbiting?
What is the
No.
intent? Is the
I
intent? No, no.
You're saying
When you
that,
mimic somebody, you're trying to trample and mock the person, or you're just bringing out in light in just some
Yeah, the
aspects of.
entertainment factor.
So it depends
yeah,
on what you're trying to do.
basically it starts with entertainment, so people laugh, but
If
then
you stop
sometimes
there,
I
then
go
it's fine.
overboard.
I
Then
think
I
we
go
have to
out
be,
of control.
yeah. You know, very frequently, Namita's backbiting starts with that, making simple fun of somebody. And then I wanted to bring in that element in discussion. There must be finer aspects of backbiting. Some is very directly say that person is bad, he hurt me, he's blah, blah, blah. Some can be very fine starting point. Oh, look at the way he walks, have a laugh on it. And then it goes further from there. So we have to be careful of the traps. So
Very,
I
very
think,
good points.
yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
good points. I think
I mean,
it's
it's so
so much
nice.
relevant.
One can see the mirror.
Yes.
You start as a Johnny Lever, and then you are nowhere. Yeah.
Jay Baba, talking about finer points, are there any finer points in ego or I? Is it always toxic, or are there healthy and finer points in the ego as well?
Oh, ego is a huge chapter. Kama is an
I
expert on
know.
that.
There would be degrees.
Well,
There
that's
would
a,
be degrees of everything.
yeah,
There will
but
be also degrees of ego.
that's a good question. Actually, you know what? Ego is there for a purpose. As Baba said, the mind ego came through evolution, right? Because during the Big Bang, there was no mind ego. It only started during the evolution process in the kingdoms. And it has a certain purpose. The ego is needed to take care of the material body, especially in terms of being a human being, that the ego is important for our practical material life, where you need to be strict, where you need to be compassionate, all those kind of things. I think somebody has to mute, please. Mute, please. So I think that the finer point of the ego is basically when you have to, depending on each situation, uh, there are examples where, this I heard in a Vipassana practice. The Vipassana teacher was going around, and there is in the fifth or sixth day, you are in a cell for 3 or 4 hours, they give you that opportunity. And I think one of the aspirants, one of the meditators slept. So the teacher basically opened up and shouted at him. Hello, somebody has to mute,
Somebody's
please.
mic again is on.
Oh, okay. So I think that what we need to understand here is that so somebody asked him, sir, you said in Vipassana we have to be peaceful and compassionate, and all those things. But I saw you shouting at somebody, So he said that, look, when I was shouting at that person, I was completely detached. There was a reason behind the shouting. It was an intelligent form of action where the motive behind it, just like a parent, when they are trying to be strict with their children, when they are doing it with that kind of, right emotion, right intention, that is a form of using the finer ego. It's just a crude example. On another point, what I think Ashok said was, I think, is very important. I think the basic premise of doing all the readings that we are doing is how can we develop pure love for Baba? And Baba has given a very practical example of the four aspects, no backbiting, looking at the good points of others rather than their bad points, supreme tolerance, and the happiness of others at the cost of our own happiness. So, as Baba says, real happiness lies in making others happy. I mean, these all look good on paper, this is all said in 10 Commandments also. It's not something new. It is a practical approach. But Baba clearly says that even to derive any of these attributes, we have to stop worrying. Worry is the biggest obstacle actually to approach Baba, And I'll tell you my own perfect example, my own family example is my dad, is somebody who likes to worry. When I tell dad, like, why do you have to worry? He said, like, how can you love without worries? See, that is his approach. Second approach is he's God fearing. I said, why not God loving? Because it says in the Shastras. Now, you can't change people's attitudes, as we all know that. We can only try to share our knowledge and see if it helps. If not, we have to leave them to their, But here, clearly, I think that's why the famous phrase or the famous song, don't worry, be happy. I think it's a very important phrase of Baba, There's no point worrying because we are already there. We just need to dissolve our ego. So I think this chapter is very, very important. And this particular paragraph that we read, how to imbibe that, how to, improve ourselves, working on those spiritual attributes. So that's a very important thing. Jai Baba.
Can we summarize this with another term? Say back talking and backbiting. Make a difference of that. Backbiting is negative. Back talking can be a lot of gradations, which we have already discussed, like appreciating a person at the extreme end and making a humorous comment on them without injuring anybody's, say, mindset or ego, just for the sake of conversation or humor. So Nomita ji can think of all these things and stop at where it is required and keep at where it is helpful. Jai Baba.
In fact, I think a lot of us should take up this challenge like Nomita. So tell us how it goes, Nomita. I'm joining you on this 40-day challenge. I'll tell you honestly. In fact, I'll text you if you're comfortable when I encounter episodes. Okay,
Namita,
let's help each other.
Namita,
Yeah.
I will join you too. Let's start from now. What is the date? 14th. 40 days means 24th of June. Then we'll start backbiting on 25th.
How do we know that these people with the resolve are not backbiting?
We just talk about backbiting. We don't talk about
so
it.
If you make a mistake, please put it on the group chat. Confession, okay, I did backbiting today.
I will have you as my spokesperson. You can keep on writing.
No, I think we are dealing with Baba, so we have to tell Baba that we did backbiting. If we lose a habit, have a habit, we lost it. We have to convey to Baba.
All right, yeah, as you feel comfortable, please. Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Sometimes you're discussing a person with a motive to understand the person better. So again, the intent is important.
Yeah, intent, I think it makes the content. I completely agree. Yeah.
That's back talking and the gradation, as Mamaji put it.
How about talking back?
Talking back is always in front. It cannot be away from a person.
Today's was a very nice discussion. So it's something to reflect on and something to improve on. So thank you very much for all your sharing.
Amazing session, though we've hardly made reading progress, but I think very, very relevant discussions. I know probably we have not dwelt enough on ego as some of you might have liked, but we will take it up anyway in the discourses itself down the line. And likewise on backbiting, if anybody has any good reference material or you come across anything down the line, share it. So anyway, 3 of us have publicly proclaimed that we are doing this 40-day challenge. So help us and wish us, and we will try to honestly tell you where we slipped.
You know what we
Actually,
girls will
actually, I did a PowerPoint presentation. I collected material about Baba, Meher Baba, and backbiting, some information, and I showed it to our group long time ago.
do? Would you share it again? That will put
Yeah.
us on the.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember Raviji did. Yeah.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
mind
I
doing
remember
it.
too. So maybe we can. Did we record and publish that on the list? I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
yes, we did.
Maybe I can do it
Oh, we
tomorrow.
did not.
I can do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
that'll
Sure.
be a good base camp for us to start. And
Yeah.
we can have
Stay
one
tuned.
session where all three of us can break plates on people we want to backbite about and just clean it out of our system.
Can I share a small story from the Sai Satcharita about backbiting?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So one day, I think, if I go right, two brothers, somebody came to Baba and he started speaking ill of his elder brother. So Baba showed him a pig who was eating filth at a distance and just said, "See with what joy the pig is eating the filth." So I think that left a very strong impression in my mind that when you are talking ill about somebody, it's like a pig eating the filth with great appreciation.
Wow.
Good.
That's
Yeah. That's like looking at a mirror and saying, well, I think all these things will aid in us keeping this resolve. It is actually filth.
Yeah, it's like my mother's glare. So if she starts talking about if she and my dad are talking about something and we linger for a few seconds longer, she'll give a glare and then you walk away. So that's I am reminded of that. So in that way, there are some strong things that help us understand and also internalize. So like that, the pig and the filth, maybe. Yeah.
I have
Navita.
one more question, Jay Baba.
Yeah, sure.
Jay
Go ahead.
Baba. Yeah, so I'm just saying that when we are backbiting, it's an analogy of the pig eating the filth, which Baba has, given as reference. So are we reducing the person who is getting backbitten, his sanskaras, and adding to our sanskaras? Is there a transfer of sanskaras? It's a very, sort of a quantitative question, but when we are speaking ill of somebody behind his back, are we reducing his sanskaras and acquiring some sanskaras at our end? Is it a
I
very
think so. I read this somewhere.
Yes, I think let's
You
hold
are.
our horses till tomorrow. Ravi will explain it in great detail.
So this is another perspective to backbiting and why we should not backbite if we are trying to dissolve
Yeah.
or reduce our sanskaras. The unwinding and winding
So
that role of sanskaras.
one thing that probably can help us is to think that the time that we are backbiting actually are wasting time. And Baba has said, think of me so much that your mind is at loss to think of anything else. So if in that context, if we think the time we spent on backbiting is a lost time, the number of breaths, limited breaths that Baba has given in this lifetime. So in that context, we are wasting time,
Valid point.
It could be better utilized thinking of him.
Yes.
But
Yes.
today's discussion is not a waste of time. It's a gain of time.
No, but the breaths remains static. The number of breaths are static. So
yes. So
it's a
we
good
have a
use of the
limited
time,
count.
of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Good use of the time, I agree.
Yeah. So we better do better things, rather than do backbiting. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Yeah. Okay. So with that, let's just continue from where we stopped. Pure love, very rare. That's the subtitle. The kind of love that is awakened by the grace of the Master is a rare privilege. The mother who's willing to sacrifice all and to die for her child, and the martyr who's prepared to give up his very life for his country, are indeed supremely noble. but they have not necessarily tasted this pure love born through the grace of the Master. Even the great yogis who sit in caves and on mountain tops and are completely absorbed in deep samadhi, meditative trance, do not necessarily have this precious love. Pure love, awakened through the grace of the Master, is more valuable than any other stimulus that may be utilized by the aspirant. Such love not only combines in itself the merits of all the disciplines, but excels them all in its efficacy to lead the aspirant to the goal. When the love is born, the aspirant has only one desire, and that is to be united with the divine beloved. The subtitle is Pure Love Excels All Disciplines. Such withdrawal of consciousness from all other desires leads to infinite purity. Therefore, nothing purifies the aspirant more completely than this love. The aspirant is always willing to offer everything for the divine beloved, and no sacrifice is too difficult for him. All his thoughts are turned away from the self and come to be exclusively centered on the divine beloved. Through the intensity of this ever-growing love, he eventually breaks through the shackles of the self and becomes united with the beloved. This is the consummation of love. When love has thus found its fruition, it has become divine.
Jai Baba, I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The question to the forum is, when we talk about pure love, does this happen in the gross plane, or does it mean that when you have the gift of pure love, it starts from the first subtle plane of involution? So this is something I've been wondering about. Anybody can give some color on this? Jai Baba. When does pure love happen?
Can you expound on your question again, please? I'm too slow to understand.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sure. The question is, we have been talking about love in this chapter on love, and we have understood there are different forms of love: animal love, ordinary human love, pure love, and divine love. So here Baba says pure love is the gift of the perfect master. So as soon as that pure love is awakened in the spiritual aspirant, then the only goal is to unite with the divine beloved, which is basically your self-realization. So the question out here is, does this pure love happen when we have finished with all our gross sanskara and moved into the first plane, where gross sanskaras have been transmuted into subtle sanskaras, according to God Speaks? So that was my question, because we have known about mass being in different planes, and mass are basically God intoxicated souls. So logically, I was wondering whether pure love happens when you transition from the gross plane to the subtle plane. Jai Baba.
In 1950. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ashok.
Hello. Yeah, just that, if you go to the chart 11, they say they talk about, in the sixth plane, they talk about the ashik or the lover. Now, I suppose that would answer your question, that the supreme or the divine, the pure love is only on the sixth plane. And maybe when we are in the path as a wayfarer from 1 to 6, maybe some degree or some percentage of love would definitely be there, but you get the real 100% when you are the aspect of the lover or the ashik. Ashik is in the Sufi terms, but the lover. I think that could be your answer to your question. And correct me if my interpretation is anything but wrong, because the chart 11 is plane 6.
Jai Baba.
Yes,
Hello.
please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I want to know, how does one understand 0 to 100 what stage of love one is in. How does one judge?
Yeah.
Anybody?
So,
Let me
so Jai
say something
Jai
about
Baba,
it.
would it be possible to say what Ashok just said, that pure love, let's say, starts from, let's say pure love is zero in the gross plane because we are still entangled with human love. And let's say pure love starts with one from the subtle plane. And when we reach the sixth plane, because in the sixth plane, the only sanskaric impression is the division between the lover and the beloved, where the lover is seeing God everywhere, the divine beloved, but he still thinks of himself separate from God, the subject aspirant, advanced spiritual aspirant, and the divine beloved. Whereas once he goes from the sixth plane to the seventh plane, then pure love becomes 100, which we can call as divine love. That's how I've been mathematically thinking, that pure love could be looked upon as 99 in the sixth plane. And between the first plane to the fifth plane, it can vary between, depending on which plane you are. And then the pure love becomes divine love once the grace of the perfect master, he takes you from the sixth plane to the seventh plane. That's how I understood it. But my question was also about, main thing was, is the pure love starts from the subtle plane? That was my question. Okay, Baba.
All right. Let me give my few thoughts, Kama. One of the purpose of Avatar's work is to give a universal push. So we all know that the universe progress is standstill because we are going in the lateral movements. So Avatar comes and gives a push. And there are a lot of aspects connected to this push. And one of the aspects is a lot of people are stagnant in their own samsara cycles. They're not able to progress. So Avatar comes, and what he does is, I don't know whether you read this or not, but in 1954, Baba made a Andhra tour. When he made to Andhra tour, some lakhs and lakhs of people, somehow they came to know in those days, in 54, how they came to know about Baba's coming, and they came and visited. It's a mystery. And for example, in a small town called, big town called Eluru, and people were coming and taking darshan for Baba, and these banana, that big, what do you call that, big banana? They
Basta.
were,
Basta, I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing, banana thing. So they were accumulating and behind Baba, and Baba was, somebody were cutting the bananas from there and putting in a trays like this. And Baba, with both the hands, he was taking and give one to another. And so many thousands of people took banana. So now, what is this connected with the love? And Bhava culture was talking about it. And he mentioned, by giving bananas, it is just a banana, right? It's not a big deal. But Avatar giving banana, it appears as though he was giving mechanically, but he was installing a seed in everybody's heart. A seed of love, a seed of divine love, he is installing in everybody. Forget about sixth plane, fifth plane. When we go there, we'll worry about that. Let's talk about right now. We are in this level, whatever level we are in, and somehow we became Baba lovers. So what by installing a seed is, over time that seed becomes just like a small seed you planted, and a plant comes and it grows. Just like that, what it means is, Baba is putting us while we are walking in the forest everywhere, not knowing our destiny. He is bringing us and putting us on a highway. And once we know the highway, we can see our destination. Now we have to walk in this highway. So as the seed is maturing, our love also matures. And as the love matures, one day It all depends upon the individual whether he goes through all six planes or the perfect master takes him blindfolded to direct it to the God realization, or being open blinded without tying any eyes. He takes us through all the six planes. It all depends upon the individuals. So this seed makes us love Baba. Depends upon our own journey. Those are the thoughts.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I think he's taking all of us blindfolded, you know.
Yes.
Jai Baba, I wanted to go back to Kama's question, sixth plane, and after that, divine love. And to add to this, what I was thinking is love is one path to achieve. You look at the steps on a pyramid, plane 0 to plane 6 and 7, with the progression of love towards divine love. We've also seen another progression through the diminishing sanskaras. You have a bit of sanskaras left in sixth plane to finish, and then once every sanskara is done with, completed, you get to seventh plane. So what is the interrelation between love and sanskaras? Anybody?
Jai Baba, I think
inversely proportional.
sanskaras is basically mind. Sorry, love and ego we have talked about. We are talking about what is the relationship between love and sanskaras. So
Right.
if you understand the concept of sanskaras is basically the mind. Sanskaras is basically the impressions created by our thoughts, words, and deeds, good or bad. And sanskaras are gross, subtle, and mental. We understand that. So when we are going through the planes, veiled or unveiled, we are going from gross to subtle to mental, and it becomes finer and finer. So sanskaras also have their own fineness, in terms of their gross, whether they are coarse or finer. Of course, in the mental, sphere, there are the sixth mental plane and the seventh mental plane of evolution. Fifth and sixth. The sanskaras are very fine, but they are not gross. So when we are talking about love is already always there, just like oxygen is in our body, whether it's in a good person or not so good person, oxygen, both are. So similarly, love is latent in everybody, but that love is going to be different depending on what plane that particular aspirant is. So when we are talking about the aspirant in the sixth plane, his love has become so pure that there is only one sanskaric impression, which is the separation between the lover and the beloved. So that is a sanskara. So love is still there. So love is latent in the animal, in the human kingdom, in the gross plane, as well as in the subtle and mental planes. Only its fineness becomes purer and purer and purer. So we are saying that once that grace of the perfect master happens, because we have also understood about inorganic sanskaras and organic sanskaras, and animal sanskaras can only be wiped out by the perfect master. So that is why most people are stuck in the sixth plane, even if they follow the book. I mean, that's a very rare, like Sri Aurobindo did it by himself without the guidance of a perfect master. But in the sixth plane, you're still stuck. And without the guidance of a perfect master, one can't transition to the seventh plane. So love is always there, but that love, pure love, becomes divine love according to the semantics of what I have understood. And so sanskaras become zero. So that is what is called as manonash, right? Fana, nirvana, annihilation of the mind. When you say annihilation of the mind, means annihilation of the ego, which implies sanskaras are becoming zero. Jai Baba.
Right, Jai Baba. That's precisely what I wanted to hear and reconfirm, Kama. But just saying that love is always there, I think doesn't do justice to the gradation of love. I believe as sanskaras diminish, love increases. It's inversely proportional. And I think it has an interrelation with ego, as you explained also. As ego annihilates, love increases. Zero ego,
Yes.
divine love. Zero
Yes.
sanskaras, divine love. And the gradation goes on. Right, Jai Baba, thank you.
with all this technical discussion, I would like to have the pure love starting with the grass plane, and we should all experience it, not to wait to the subtle plane. So let's pray, Baba, that we
Baba's
experience
grace.
pure love now itself.
Yes.
Good point, Mamaji. Good point.
I can see
When
it
we
flowing
give-
now.
You know, once one guy asked money. I heard Baba said that you are going to be a perfect master. Is that true? She just got down from in the car at the Ahmednagar trust office. She thought for a moment and said, "Why don't you come and meet me at that time when I become perfect master? I'll tell you." Yeah.
Okay, so we are almost out of time, so we'll take a pause here. I think nice to see Ramakrishna back. Nice to see Nomita and Sunil in full action. So nice to have you all back. The other thing is we had an interesting experience. So I keep getting comments on the YouTube off and on. You might have also noticed. But then there was a persistent commenter that asked some questions as well. I responded to with my limited abilities on those questions. And then he has actually heard all of the God Speaks. And then he reached out to us on the Telegram group, if you recollect. And then I think even Kama reached out and had a chat. So I think it's interesting how what we're doing can impact another. And another so positively in whatever small way we can. So
Who is
just wanted
that
to-
person, Karthik? Who is that person?
He's a third generation Baba lover, Tanmay, and I have not spoken to him. I exchanged messages, but I motivated Kama to reach out to him, and I think they had a chat, right, Kama?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
So he's
Great.
basically a doctor. He's about 27 years old. He's based out of Bareilly. They are Baba lovers from Indore, actually, and so I had a nice conversation. He was very pleased to hear our recordings.
Great. So on that note, we'll wrap up for the day. Have a great Saturday, and we'll have. I will share. If you noticed, I took better quality pics of the article that Mama shared. I will share that on Telegram as well. So these are the 4 pages. I'll probably even get a better looking one. I just did it as we were speaking, and we can read it, or we can read it together tomorrow as well. And so with that, Jai Meher Baba, and see you all tomorrow.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Whoever did not
Jai Baba.
subscribe to the glow, please subscribe.
Yes, all the people here, I hope you're getting your glow. Otherwise, reach out to me and I will connect you and get it going.
Yes.
All right. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Have a
Baba.
nice-
Jai Baba.
Jai
Jai Baba.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba. Jai Baba.